Microphones are close enough so those in the peripheral can hear.
Thank you, and thank you, General, and the entire staff. Just a little background. I used to be an insurance investigator for a number of years, and some of the jurisdictional stuff that you were talking about, my father-in-law was Chief Revenue Compliance Officer for the Delaware Division of Revenue, and they were actually able to form what was called ESITIG, the Eastern Shore Tax Investigation Group, that were actively sharing on those investigative ends, and you kind of answered that with the jurisdictional and the designation language, so I appreciate that. You've helped me out a lot on that. Are you getting more requests since you've begun publicizing the prosecutions? Are you getting more tips and that sort of thing from people specifically within the departments who had, up until now, the ones that I've spoken with have been very reluctant to do that because of perceived blowback? But are you getting more tips now from the people within the departments? Are you seeing an increase as a result of your investigations?
I would not say as yet that we've seen any kind of marked increase as far as the number of tips we do receive. Again, we receive substantial amounts of them, roughly 18,000 a year through the various types. They come from the general public. We also have other agencies like the federal government will forward us information and tips. A lot of the stores that we have to investigate for SNAP trafficking come down from FNS because the store owner's already been disqualified, although that's an after the fact sort of thing like the Inspector General mentioned. If we're not up front and looking at it quickly, if we get it after the fact, it's much harder to build a criminal case. So a lot of those go into an administrative realm because of it. However, we have formed now a partnership, or the ability to form partnerships. We've gotten what's called a State Law Enforcement Bureau designation from the USDA that allows us to contract essentially through a memorandum of understanding with local and state law enforcement agencies within the Commonwealth. So we can tackle trafficking at the front end before it's just an administrative disqualification. We can start looking at that store, and we've had the success we've had here in Harrisburg conducting a SLEB-like investigation. There's already a couple in the wings, and we're engaging with that MOU with them now. We just received this designation a few months ago. So we will pursue that to its logical end, but I can't say that we've seen any marked increase at this moment.
Okay, based on your experience to date, if you were to be getting revenue for additional investigators, where would you focus those assets? What areas would you be targeting? What do you see as a need?
Several areas. One, I believe we are understaffed in a pretty significant way with the folks that investigate on a day-to-day basis are the issues regarding food stamp trafficking. Some of those investigations can be quite complex, and we only have a handful of folks that are assigned to that area. So that is certainly one area where we would love to see an increase in our complement to be able to. It's a large Commonwealth, and there are. It is very difficult with the number of folks that we have currently to cover all 67 counties and run down every tip and run down every investigation and partner with all of the different folks we have to partner with in order to make these investigations successful. Certainly, the numbers that we have show that there is enormous financial benefit for the Commonwealth to continuing being very aggressive on the front end of investigations. So we would certainly have a component that to try to enhance the welfare fraud investigators who are overworked and working hundreds of cases at any one time. And also with our claims investigations agents, we would like to continue to be vigorous in finding appropriate cases that we can deal with and prosecute. The question about whether or not we've seen an increase, I can tell you one thing that we've seen. We've seen regular concern on the part of folks who want to make sure they don't end up on one of our releases, and that we are taking it very seriously, and we are putting this information forth the way all other criminal justice agencies in this Commonwealth do, with the caveat, of course, and it's one of the most important caveats we have, that any individual is presumed innocent until they're found guilty in a court of law. But it is important that the public understands what it is that we're doing, how we're doing it, and what is ultimately that is leading to. Every other criminal justice agency in this Commonwealth does it, and I really firmly believed it was important for us to do it as well.
I agree. Just one more area. The State Workers Insurance Fund, they don't have a single investigator. They don't have any claims managers in that fund. They've got one person handling 44,000 claims, from what I understand. I'd suggest that might be another area that your office might want to look. It was a multi-billion-dollar a year industry with workers' insurance or compensation fraud. Thank you.
Thank you.